Well, I don't know if we've begun. Um, I don't know if you all can hear me or if I'm supposed to wait. If anyone is here with me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it on the screen. I'm on my phone, folks, and Debbie is in transit today from Colorado to California. And Debbie, am I on now? Well, I'm just going to act as if. So, good morning. Happy Moon Day. It's April 3rd. So, happy April. Yes. And the game changing times of March continue big time through April and May. So, we are in a time of transition and transformation. And it's as though we're in the point of the still point between the in breath and the out breath. So many changes. And we're going to begin, get ourselves centered with our heart drop. If you're here with me live, please let me know, check in. As I said, I don't know if I'll see it on the screen. So, because I'm on my phone after we had the problems with sound with the iPad last week. And because Debbie's in transit, this may be breaking up. I don't know. But please have patience with me, and hopefully you'll hear what you need regarding this full moon and this dynamic month that we're stepping into. So put your feet on the floor, palms up in your lap, and begin to be aware of your breath as it comes and goes. Where is the breath in your body? Is it in your chest, like someone panting? Or are you breathing all the way from the soles of your feet, feeling your belly move, filling your lungs, every cell of your body? Those trillions of cells are filling with beautiful prana, life force from source. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel your feet. Feel that beautiful life-sustaining breath, enlivening all of your cells and moving all the way from your tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, through every cell to the top of your head, your crown chakra. And on the next inhalation, as you breathe all the way to the top of your head, white light pours down through your crown chakra and moves through every cell of your body on the exhalation, clearing any negativity, anything that's calling for healing, and anything that prevents you from being present right here with me in this moment. After all, the only point of power is the present moment. And where you are is sacred ground, holy sacred ground. Breathe in, breathe out. And now on the next breath, all the way to the top of your crown, bringing that earth energy also up into your body, that grounding energy of all those wonderful earth kingdoms. And on the next exhalation, feel the energy of your consciousness moving down behind your facial mask, down through your neck and throat, down through your chest and into your heart. Breathe in and out of your heart. And now on the next breath, inhale beautiful rosy gold light. And as you breathe that in, know that you are filling every chamber of your heart, every parsec of your existence with self-love. See that beautiful rosy gold light fill your heart. Feel it spreading through your torso, down through your legs, up through your shoulders, down through your arms, up through your face and your head, and all the way down the back of your body. You are bathed in this rosy glow of self-love. And on the next inhalation, breathe in emerald green light into that heart chakra. The emerald of healing, balancing the rosy glow and the emerald light with a heart that is filled to overflowing with self-love and a love that now pours out into your whole body, healing anything calling for healing. And now that energy, that beautiful light, I've mentioned before about watermelon tourmaline. If you know what that stone is, it combines the pink and green vibration, that emerald and rosy glow vibration. And so just see that moving through every one of the trillions of cells in your body as your cells become quickened and enlivened with all of this love. You're creating a love revolution right there within you. Now, in the next breath, as you exhale, feel that energy move through your skin, filling your auric field, enlivening your Merkaba. Breathing in and out of your heart. And now that energy moves to fill the space that you're in, to fill your home. And you are wrapped in, emitting and wrapped in this beautiful, beautiful, loving, heart-centered light. And when you feel complete and centered, present, centered in your heart, come back, open your eyes, and come back to be with me. Well, how was that for everyone? It's good for me. I hope it was good for you. And it's an especially relevant thing to, use your heart drop technique as often. Remember it. Move from that place in your life every opportunity you can, every time you think about it, especially during this week when we have a full moon coming up in Libra on Wednesday night, Pacific time. So the full moon will either be, depending on if you're on that, the East Coast or wherever you are in the world, adjust the time because it'll be on April 5th or 6th, depending where you are. But Libra is ruled by Venus. And it can be Venus of the mind, where it's very, very much a mental, Venus as a mental construct, the ideal of beauty and fairness. But if you drop into your heart, then your heart is a partner in the Venusian experience that's coming your way this week. So today, right now, the moon is at 15 to 16 degrees of Virgo. Great for starting the week. It's the workaholic sign of the zodiac, but also dedicated to service, putting the creative self-expression and those passions into service for a greater cause. It's also the sign of physical health. So it reminds you to check in. We're in the Aries cycle. And so Virgo, ruled by Mercury, has to do with the lungs, the upper alimentary canal, the digestive system, the small intestine, and the hands. Arms, shoulders, and hands particularly. It's the craftsman, the artisan of the zodiac. So how does that play into that, the bold, dynamic intentions that you set at the time of the new moon in Aries? We had this big message of initiation with spring at 0 degrees of Aries and the new moon at 0 degrees of Aries. So Virgo is the detail-oriented person. And so this asks you to look at your priorities. We're in the gibbous phase right now. And the gibbous phase is what's known as the pressure cooker phase prior to a full moon. So be aware of that as you move through your week. But also the gibbous phase is where you polish your progress regarding your new moon intentions. And you get your priorities straight so that you're not siphoning your energy off into areas that don't relate to your intentions for this cycle. So, it's good for you to look back at your intentions. Have you been doing your feelization? Have you been grounding yourself? Because Aries Aries is a just do it sign. But Aries can also be very good at being in the present and being in the child state, having that innocent curiosity and that incredible energy. The energy of the child. Don't we all wish we had the energy we had as a child sometimes? Yeah. So as I mentioned, we're in the gibbous phase, and the moon in Virgo, we have Mercury moving into the placid, calm sign of Taurus at 7:22 a.m. this morning. So, but then Mercury squares Pluto, and so this might bring up some verbal disagreements earlier in the day, and a disruption in your plans. So, the energy might be a little better later. So, use the Virgo energy to organize, to stick to your course, to know your priorities, and remember to drop into your heart so that those verbal disagreements, don't occur. So you're able to listen, to really listen and get where somebody is coming from. It'll be better later as the Virgo moon, moves in with its aspects to restore some civility in our conversations and our thoughts. Tomorrow, the 4th, the moon is opposite Neptune as you wake up, at least here on the West Coast. And so, put those dreams in your journal, because you might find that you have some very vivid dreams as you come into your wakeful state as the moon conjuncts Neptune. And then the moon unites with Venus, and it makes selfless service easier. So that's tomorrow, easier to tap into the high side of that Virgo energy. And then at 2:51 p.m. tomorrow, the moon moves into Libra. Teamwork, cooperation, beauty, harmony, justice, fairness. These are the things that Libra desires. And so it's really good to ask yourself tomorrow, what's the team I need to put those things that I'm initiating into action? We have the old paradigm of me first. I'm an island. All of that is gone. And I know I was listening to Heather Ensworth, and she was talking about that we are healing the age of Aries, which occurred in 2000 BCE. And we have been suffering from that as the energy then moved through the age of Pisces and now into the age of Aquarius. So we're in a time of rectifying the imbalance in that energy, which the Aries age focus on war, on me first, on the individual the individual to such a degree that we ended up with a belief in separation. And so you have an opportunity when the moon moves into Libra to look at healing that. Right now, the sun and Chiron, the wounded healer, are united in Aries as we move into this full moon. And so healing is available. Healing, and if there's an imbalance, if there's too much you first then me, which is Libra, not having healthy boundaries. And then the Aries, which can be, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, and if I leave disaster in my wake, oh well. So you want to look at where as we move forward through the week, the full moon is going to be at 16 degrees of Libra. So where is that in your chart? There's a lot of shareware. Of course, you could connect with me for a reading. I mean, these changes are so massive. It's an incredible time for a reading, because we are setting the tone not just for the next 3 months, but for the next 20 years. So wouldn't you like to know how to tap into that energy to make your dreams reality, and look at what you want to initiate and how to ground that in reality with what you need to sustain your dream, to sustain your vision, to be the pioneer and the leader that you were born to be. So, the moon's going to trine Pluto tomorrow, and that gives you a, psychic perceptions. So that's a good thing. And this is going to shed some light on what motivates um, our loved ones. Be willing to look deeper. That's what Pluto always says. Look deeper. Look for what's really going on underneath, way down, all of it. So, so you may find that tomorrow you have an ability to tune in more to, what's really going on, what's really motivating your loved ones and those that you're having conversations and connections with. And then on Wednesday, we have the full moon. And the moon is going to be, the moon squares Mars, first of all, at 1:11 a.m. on Wednesday. And that can disrupt trust. So just be aware of that. And there's a big theme of rehabilitation. It's really strong as the moon is opposite Chiron in the afternoon and is part of the full moon lineup at 9:34 p.m. This is the 7th of 7 full moons in a row that we have had at 16 degrees. It's the final one. But we are in a 7-year by collective agreement with our Western calendar, as you know. So that's interesting. And the 1 is the number of beginnings. And then the 6 is the number of love and lovers. So it's really beautiful that it's at 16 degrees and that it's the final one. It guides us, brings us around to the ultimate message that love is the answer. And Libra is interesting because we've got 4 planets in Aries opposite this full moon. And as I mentioned, Chiron and the sun are conjunct. The full moon is when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other in the same sign at the same degree. So we have Chiron and the sun, and then we have Jupiter, and then Aries. So Jupiter's at 20 degrees, Aries is at 24 degrees. And so this has to do with the rights of the individual. And again, this full moon's all about balance. The balance between me and thee, me and we, and the shadow side of a lack of boundaries or a lack of fairness or justice, or thinking that the world has to be at peace before you can be, when the creatorship aspect of that is the other way around. Be peace. You are the arbiter of peace. And if you are in peace and you are continually checking in with the harmony in your own life and within yourself, it's going to beam out. And that will be the environment that you experience because you're the matrix. It's interesting. Beauty, grace, harmony. It's a great time to look at what you're going to do with your look for spring. Lighten up and have some time to nurture yourself, do some sacred self-care, and ramp up your look with spring colors. I've got on my spring pink lipstick and a little bit of pink on my eyelids and pink glasses, and this is all spring. It's fun. And Jupiter opposite this moon reminds us to expand our consciousness, that healing oftentimes is a call to expand and uplift our consciousness. So this full moon takes us back to September 25th, 2022. So if you journal, and I highly recommend journaling with the moon, journaling is so, honoring your own journey, because it's so amazing to look at these points and see the rhythms and the evolution of what you set in motion then. And you might have really wanted a relationship, or looked at where there was dysfunction in your relationships. And Libra is the sign that reminds us, with its Venus ruler, which is now traveling in Taurus, that we are in relationship with everything and everyone. With Venus in Taurus, it reminds us you are in relationship with and a gift of the earth. And then Libra really takes it to the people level. So as you craft your wish at the time of this full moon, and by the way, Libra rules the endocrine system, the areas of balance in our body. Aries is about the adrenals. Libra has to do with the kidneys, the bladder. So, check to see how these areas of your body are doing. We're having an amazing thing happen as we move through April and May. But it's also going to be very, very dynamic, very powerful. And we're going to see it out picture in our world and in the world. And that is at the destiny points of the moon, the nodes, which are in Scorpio, continue to travel in Scorpio and Taurus, are going to be moving to square Pluto. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that once I get through the full moon and the week with the moon, because this is really huge, huge news. It's life-changing, transformative for the world. And it's going to be there until July. It's going to be moving in this T-square. Very powerful. So that's also an aspect of this full moon. And full moons are culmination points and endings. It can also bring new romance into your life, and it may come in, suddenly, surprisingly. But it also, may be a wild ride. So keep your feet on the ground with Venus in Taurus. It's reminding you to keep your feet on the ground and to be careful what you wish for. Be concise in what you wish for. And look at your boundaries in your life. Do you have healthy boundaries? Because if you don't establish boundaries in relationship right up front, then oftentimes it creates a need to disrupt things later on, to establish boundaries once the gate has been opened. So that's something to look at this full moon. Also, more generals were born with Libra sun, under a Libra sun pattern is one example. And so Libra, even though it's ruled by Venus, it is not a namby-pamby sign. And when we bring up the shadow, we're bringing up right now, and you're all seeing it, the shadow of the justice system, the shadow of the law. How does it operate? Because the age of Aries began the top-down aspect, big time, where it's me first. I want to be at the top of the mountain, and all of you are down there. That was the shadow side of that age. And it created a lot of havoc that we're still, now we're moving into a time of moving it back into equanimity with the people. And so where do you not step up in your own life? Or where do you step up in anger because you have not established healthy boundaries? Yeah. So do you have cooperation in your relationships? Is that one of your goals? Are you bringing in the strength and courage and go for it aspect of Aries and respecting everybody's individual rights, honoring them, which is Eris in Aries, the goddess of discord, who now is coming, into our atmosphere to remind us that everyone has a right to express their individuality, and we're doing that in community. That's going to be the message of Pluto in Aquarius until 2044. We're just beginning that, right? So with Mercury on the day of the full moon, also conjunct the North Node in Taurus, communicate your values and write your wish according to your values. What do you value in relationship? And it's really, I have found in my life that that's one of the most important things, is to learn what someone's values are, to ask the questions. There's a phrase, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And I feel like that's oftentimes Libra. Also, Michael Ventura, who's a writer out of LA, said years ago, we love before we know. And that's really true. And so it's important to be willing. This is cardinal energy. It's, you know, it's the energy that starts the seasons. So it's really, it can be kick-ass energy. So if you're making a wish for a relationship, or for health in your relationship, or to heal the dysfunction in your relationship, or to bring one in or move one out, whatever it is, you know, look at your values. You want someone who shares your values. Venus of the mind, a like mind. Someone who is loving, healthy and wealthy in every way. Someone who shares your love of beauty. And also for you to harmonize, to experience harmony in your life. We're so jazzed up by everything that's going on in the world. I mean, when I go out, I just feel the nervous system, the anxiety of everybody that's just trying to go along to get along. But we know that a smile, being in your heart, somebody experiencing that energy can be so, so powerful. And it will change your experience as well. So you write your wish, you write the list of what you want to release. And then you burn that. You put what you want to release on a piece of paper. And sometimes just going back over what's happened the last 6 months in your relationships. Where have you done well? Where has it resonated with your values? Where has your attitude in relationships been different than what you would like? Maybe you want to bring in a team. You know, these are the things. Maybe you want to be more of a leader in your life, or to share more in your life. You know, 7 can be a very inward year. But as you make your wish, then you burn what you want to release, and you see that smoke, feel that smoke rising through every cell of your body, and just like sticky stuff, just taking everything that would get in the way of your wish come true right now, taking it right out of your atmosphere. And then you move into meditation and drop into your heart and visualize what it looks like to have your wish come true right now. You write it down, because writing is a form of instant manifestation. Cool, huh? Yeah. And I remember hearing somebody say, we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are, who we are. So the visualization is really, really important. As you visualize what it looks like, might be somebody, might be balance, might be a vision of harmony. And then you step into your picture in your heart, and you step into the picture that you've created, and you feel what it feels like to have that relationship, to have that team, to have that peace, that harmony, to create that beauty, to appreciate that beauty. And that raises your frequency from your heart with love. You've created your wish come true right there, right now. So write any messages that come through to you after you've done this. Write your gratitude, because everything that exists is planted in the fertile soil of gratitude. It moves it along. It fast tracks it, right? And then take the paper or the journal where you've written your wish and put it out into the moonlight, because this full moon is at 9:34 p.m. on the Pacific coast. So that'll be midnight. After midnight, it'll be on the 6th on the East Coast. And I always think of Elisha in Hawaii, so it'll be a little earlier. But put it out into the full moon and charge that page, charge that journal. And then you tuck it away until the next new moon, when you're going to incorporate it into your new moon intentions. And that new moon, and you might be feeling it already if you're sensitive, it's another thing that's just really got the energy ramped up. The next new moon is a solar eclipse. It's a second new moon in Aries. So it's very dynamic. And so that's coming on the 19th. And you'll incorporate your wish into one of your new moon intentions. And I'll be talking more about that eclipse as we go along. Talking more about it, next week. So on Thursday, you're encouraged to balance the needs of others with your own. And the moon actually conjuncts Eris, the goddess of discord, at 1:14 p.m. And that can swing the pendulum of self-care back to me first. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But the moon moves into Scorpio late 11:29 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And that's emotionally intense. The Scorpio moon is the most emotionally intense sign of the zodiac. But it also craves intimacy in relationship. So that theme of the full moon takes the Libra theme of relationship and equality to a deeper level, because the Scorpio moon craves intimacy. And remember, intimacy is not just sexual. Intimacy has its roots in good communication. And again, Scorpio can be driven by its Mars aspect, where it just wants to roll in the hay, and it equates that with intimacy. But it's really about communicating on a very deep level. Not always easy, Scorpio, because Scorpio also rules secrets. But a willingness to share, to look at those areas that are blocked, where you have a challenge sharing, and also knowing when it's really good to keep quiet, to keep your secrets. For instance, if you're working on your intentions, sometimes when you share your vision or your dream with everybody, it dilutes it and you get feedback that's not helpful. So nurturing those desires. And then on Friday, mid-morning, the moon is opposite Mercury in Taurus. And as I said today, Mercury moves into Taurus, which can be stubborn. Taurus can be really stubborn. And it may make it hard to find a meeting of the minds. And other aspects intrude that make it easier to sympathize and find common ground later on in the day, on Friday. And so this is good to know, because you may be in a work environment where communication is absolutely a necessity. And then on Saturday, the moon is opposite Uranus at 6:53 a.m. And so you may be this in the Pacific, here in California. So you may find that you're startled awake with that combination. And it's a day when you might find you're ready to be free and go out and do your thing. But with Saturn making an aspect, freedom versus responsibilities. So don't feel guilty, if you've decided to do something fun for yourself, but just know that you may, that little devil of guilt may be on your shoulder, and it's like, no. So, but you may find that you're doing a dance of balance between those two, between freedom and responsibilities. And so then later in the day, the evening, the night, allow yourself to let your hair down and dance to the music. And that's a perfect gift of the universe, the energy on a Saturday night of letting your hair down and dance into the music, literally, right? So at 5:56 a.m. on Sunday, Pacific Daylight Time, the moon enters carefree Sagittarius. Lovely. And this, Scorpio can be really, really intense energy, especially with Pluto moving into Aquarius and squaring that Scorpio energy. So that Sagittarius moon can take us out of the doldrums and into a sense of possibility. Cultivate that, because midday, the moon squares Saturn, and the freewheeling expeditions may be disrupted by a reality check. Again, that freedom, expansion versus responsibilities. And at 2:24 p.m. on Sunday, the moon enters the disseminating phase, the phase where we take a bite out of the fruit and look at what our experience has been during the full moon, and also over the past 6 months since we set those intentions in the time of the Libra new moon. And one of the things that's happening, I mentioned that the nodes, which have to do with our future collective destiny, are moving into a T square with Pluto. They're going to square the nodal axis. And so this is, this indicates huge social and political changes. And because the nodes move clockwise while the planets move counterclockwise, as the nodes back up, so to speak, they move in retrograde motion, we have like a tightening. And this is going to be, it's going to be a tightening of the financial systems, of our awareness. So, just a heads up, be very clear on your values. Don't allow the media, the prevailing fear tactics to throw you off course, to make you forget who you are. We are creating the new earth, and we need every light worker on board and not allowing their nervous system, their anxiety to throw them off course. So April to mid-July and then through 2024, we've got these huge evolutionary changes occurring. And if you have 27 degrees of the cardinal signs, Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, Libra, you're going to feel this very keenly, or 4 degrees, around 4 degrees of the fixed signs. You're going to feel it more personally and directly. Personal choices, change, and intensity. So we're asked to release resistance, especially the fixed signs, which isn't easy for fixed signs. Fixed signs are able to, to build things because they hang in there. But the knowing what to release and when to release, really important. To surrender to spirit. Source, how can I be of use? What is your purpose for my energy? My energy of love for the earth and for humanity. What am I being called to now? You may find that your life is changing radically. And so the things that you thought of as security, the old paradigms that you marched to, are no longer in existence. So we're going to talk more about this, but this is big. So we've got this full moon with these planets calling for healing opposite the full moon, bringing up the shadow, revealing what's going on in our relationships. And then we also have this T square with the nodes and Pluto. And then we've got a solar eclipse on the way. So eclipse season will be beginning by the end of April, by the 19th. So it's big times. And I was shown something the other day that I thought was really interesting. I always get these messages throughout the week that sometimes, that are just personal messages. And one of the images that they showed me, I talked a bit last week about the new messages of all these shifts going on. And I was shown a mailbox, big blue mailbox. And each planet was a letter. Each planet had a letter, and those letters went into the mailbox. And as it's like time and the way that these planets aspect your own natal chart yield up the messages. But now the letters are on their way to you, and you will be reading them over the next 2 to 3 months. So allow yourself that still point. Allow yourself the rest that's needed. We are the universe, each of us. And so you need to allow that rest. We're continuing to move through the photon belt. We're continuing to have these massive coronal ejections. The earth is continuing to be bombarded with light as well. And the core is undergoing major shifts. And we are of the earth. Our bodies, our emotions, our psyches are of the earth. And so allow yourself, don't make yourself wrong if you feel overly fatigued or tired. Now, of course, you want to pay attention to your health. And if this is an issue with your immune system, or they say that 96%, and this is huge, of our population has metabolic syndrome. Something going on that's related. If you have inflammation, it's related to your digestion, to your the imbalance of your metabolic system. So this is something that this full moon is going to bring up. Where is there an imbalance in your metabolic system? How are you eating? Are you taking the time to prepare your own food, not eat any processed food, eat organically? Yeah, good questions to ask yourself. And if you can take sugar, Virgo has to do with the pancreas, Virgo moon today. If you can take sugar, just get it out of your house, out of your, your nutritional regimen, and look at where the sweetness of life is missing for you, where that craving, there's a difference between a little sweetness here or a little sweetness there. And of course, there are alternatives. Honey's great. You don't want to overdo anything. And that's one of the things you'll be looking at this full moon. Where do you overindulge? With Jupiter being so close to the sun. Where do you overindulge? Where do you say, oh, just this once or just this twice? Because that's that number. And when I heard that, that number is staggering. And I have dealt with inflammation myself. And I know that when I get back on track and I pay attention to what I'm, when I pay attention to what I'm eating, my body moves back into harmony and the inflammation disappears and all my digestion, my elimination becomes smooth again. And I feel oh so much better. So be willing to, I know for a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's just too fast. I just need to go through the fast food. If you knew how many poisons you were taking in, honor yourself, honor your boundaries regarding those things too. So it's interesting because one of the things that came to me was, this country, we're looking at huge changes for the United States. We know that this country doesn't work for everybody. And at least as far as the playing field of opportunity goes. And so this is a huge paradigm shift. So as we look at this, we realize that this country was founded as a corporation. You know that, right? This company was founded as a corporation, which is why capitalism and has gone into such a direction of corporate greed. But then it says we the people. So how can you found a company as a corporation and then say we the people and then leave women and children and the diversity of population that we have behind, which is what has happened. So we know that something has to happen. And as I mentioned to you, the demolition derby is going to be going on when we have Pluto backing up into Capricorn. And that's what kind of has to happen. But if you have your vision intact, your dream intact, you're working on it, you're realizing it, you're taking that first step, you'll be okay. Because you know that the creation of a new world, a new earth is underway. And then another thing that I was really pondering and thinking about is this country was founded when the sun was in Cancer, July 4th. And now Mars is in Cancer. So home, family, emotional security are right up front. What do you want to put your energy toward? What do you want to nurture? Is your family, a family of like-minded, extended, groups or people? Have you healed the issues with your family, or are you at war with them? Also, it's a great time to do spring cleaning with Mars in Cancer. But so we have the Cancer sun in the U.S. natal chart, but we also have the moon in Aquarius. Hello. So it's not at 1 degree, and it's not going to get to, to the moon of the United States until a few years from now. So the ground is being plowed. It's being prepared. Because when Pluto gets to that moon, then we're going to come back to we the people. And all the way along, we're going to be experiencing that. You know, this is huge. This is transformation. It's death and rebirth. And so it's going to take some years, and that's what Pluto is giving us. It's going to bring up the shadow, and it's going to show us the doorway to transformation and what we need to eliminate to get there, to reclaim the energy we need to get ourselves back on track. But Cancer and Aquarius are a quincunx, or 5 signs apart, which means there's a dance of adjustment continually between our focus on home and family and the American dream that the banks put forth was housing. You need to own a home. Well, and that is at odds with the Aquarius moon. It's a continual dance of adjustment. So we're going to see some big, big changes coming along as that dream shifts, as that's retooled. So celebrate your uniqueness within community and watch where egotistical tendencies still make you want to be king of the mountain. I remember a friend of mine years ago, we were putting an astrology group together, and a lot of astrologers came, but they all had their own thing going on. And he said, everybody in the desert is a pope. Well, if everybody's a pope, that's an equal playing field. And that's what we're moving into, rather than one person being king of the mountain. After all, if you're a good leader, you need to have people following you. You need to have a community. So we're going to be transforming the lunar nature of America over the next 20 years, the subconscious, the drive for freedom, freedom of humanity, freedom to share our own unique brilliance within community, within the like-minded tribe. So again, I remind you, the creator doesn't, oh, I know, it was Erykah Badu who said this. Yeah, she's such a cool, very spiritually oriented singer, entertainer. So the creator doesn't give you what you wish for, what you ask for. The creator doesn't give you what you ask for. And of course, you're the creator, right? It gives you what you are. So remember that. Create a wonderful wish this week. Have a beautiful week. Beauty, one of the main things that is signified by Libra. Beauty, harmony, grace, balance, justice, fairness. Be peace. Be love. That's what you're created from. It's the stuff of your creatorship. So drop into your heart, tune into your heart, ground yourself, Venus and Taurus, feel your feet on the earth, and be well and joyful until we meet again. Because I love you to the moon and way beyond.